Wendy, there's ushers. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, everybody. Welcome to all of you that are here in person, and to those of you on the live stream. We're so glad you're with us for this celebration Shabbat. And we are going to have wonderful music tonight, to hear from wonderful friends, my colleagues, Rabbi Laura Geller and Rabbi Stephen Jacobs, Reverend Neil Thomas. We're so happy that you all are here, and we're so delighted to welcome home our cantor, Patty Linsky, for this special service. Thank you for being here. And we'll introduce the Kol Ami House Band in a little bit, but we're so glad all of you are back with us. And we begin with some music. Maestro? A beautiful piece called Lumdani by my classmate Cantor Benji Ellen Schiller, a favorite of mine. I'm so glad to see so many of you, and it's so nice to have our shul full tonight. Thank you for coming, and I'm especially thrilled to have my family, my son and daughter-in-law, my wife Ellie, Rabbi Simon, my sister-in-law, father-in-law, Holly. We're so glad you're here. Mason and Rami, Karen and Karen, we're so glad that you're here. And all of you, because you are my family, you're my temple family, and we're so happy that those of you that are joining us on the live stream, we're so happy you could join in the festivities tonight and this weekend. Let us begin in song to welcome the Sabbath. Shir Ladonai, Shir Chadash, page 643 in your Siddur, in your prayer book. attention to the screen.
Celebrate the 30th anniversary of Congregation Kol Ami in the retirement of our beloved Rabbi David. For 3 decades, this congregation has been a place where faith, inclusivity, love, and understanding in the city of West Hollywood and beyond. It has embraced diversity, advocated for equality, and made a lasting impact on our community. We honor the founders, leaders, and members who have dedicated themselves to the values of Tikkun Olam. As we celebrate this milestone, let us continue to work together to build a future where love triumphs over hate, acceptance overcomes discrimination, and unity prevails over division. Congratulations to Congregation Kol Ami on this remarkable achievement. May the next 30 years be filled with even more growth, inspiration, and transformative impact. And what can I say about Rabbi Ager to match the extraordinary impact she has had on this congregation and our region and state? She lives the injunction from Micah, what is required of us but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. I have cherished our relationship and the guidance I get from her and have for so long. My first days representing the city of West Hollywood in Congress, when she was able to join me at the Capitol for National Day of Prayer, to the countless occasions she has fiercely advocated for those under her ministerial care. I know she will not be far away as Rabbi Emerita. We have a speaker emerita here in Congress, and I can tell you that she hasn't slowed down one bit. Many of Rabbi Ager's accomplishments, and to invite all of Congress to wish her well as she enters this new phase of her public and private service. Thank you all again for having me share in this occasion, and I hope to see you very soon in person. Thanks so much.
You know, a rabbi doesn't often get to spend Shabbat with her family, or his family, or their family. So it's really a special night tonight for me to be able to welcome to light our Shabbat candles my wife, Rabbi Dr. Eleanor Steinman, my son, Benjamin Siteman Summers, and his wife, Rachel Lee Summers. If you'll join us to light our Shabbat candles, the prayers are on the screen or on page 120 and 121 in your prayer book.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu Blessed are you who commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
No, not yet. Kiddush is on the screen above, page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher le'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol Shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim.
Now you can have some.
Chaim.
Except it's grape juice. Thank you all very much. Love you too. Rabbi Simon and I, along with a group of 30 from our combined congregations, mostly from Kol Ami, and some of you are here tonight, spent an amazing 2 weeks in Israel. We just got home this past weekend, some just recent days, because they extended their trips. But we had the opportunity to go to Shabbat, the mystical city of the north, and there learn more about this prayer, about Lecha Dodi, and how in the times of not so long ago, medieval times, they would gather to welcome the Sabbath, to go down in the valley below Shabbat and look towards Jerusalem in hopes that the Messiah would come and bring a time of redemption and hope. And still in this day and time, we too are looking for that time of hope and redemption, not just for the Jewish people, but for all people. So as we sing and to welcome the Sabbath into our midst, a time and a foretaste of what that time of redemption, of what that time might be, let's turn together, look on the screen as we sing in Lecha Dodi to welcome Shabbat.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור לדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד, שמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ולתפילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. לראש מקדם משוכה, סוף מעשה של מחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוננו Lecha dodi likrat kala, Lenei Shabbat ve'avela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Lenei Shabbat ve'avela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Lenei Shabbat ve'avela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Lenei Shabbat nekabela.
Our custom is to turn and greet one another. Introduce yourselves to those that you know around you and those of you online. Thank you for being with us tonight. Shabbat shalom from all of us here at
Shabbat
Escalon
shalom.
and Congregation Kol Ami.
Shabbat shalom, Mom and Dad and Ronnie, if you're watching.
And I hope for you too.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Just do it.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Please be seated. A special reading from a very special compilation. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. All of us are twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. All of us have many identities and loves, many genders and none. All of us are in between roles and at the intersection of histories. All of us are crisscrossed paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither, and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted into this twilight. We cannot always be defined. We can always say a blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hayotzer et hadimdumim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, who brings on the twilight. We say together.
Amen.
Now continue on page 152 as we rise once again as one community for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We join together in the Via Hafta. Words above or on 154.
Ata et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha b'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam leot ayadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem. If you'll direct your attention to the screen, we have some words from
Let me
our
add my
leader.
voice of tribute to Rabbi Denise Egger, who is an inspired colleague and a beloved friend. Her impact on Kol Ami in West Hollywood has been profound. And let me also tell you that her impact on the Reform movement in our wider Jewish community has also been absolutely unique. Rabbi Egger is the kind of person, when you're on a journey, there may be a path that others will follow. Rabbi Egger doesn't necessarily follow anybody. On that path, we can follow. I think of the LGBTQ plus community, that she has opened a new path to the inspired Jewish future that we have so needed. She has been defiant and someone who cannot be in any way dissuaded from doing what is right and profound and holy and important for our Jewish community. I've been in high-stakes meetings with her, and she is fearless. So let me say, Rabbi Egger, you have earned the love, of course, of your congregation, all the holy moments that you have spent. But that love is shared by your colleagues in the rabbinate and in Jewish leadership, and it's shared well beyond. Please know at this time of celebration, that we celebrate with you. At this time of assessing your profound impact, please know the hearts that you have impacted, the lives that you have impacted, and the Reform movement
Rabbi Rick Jacobs, president of our Union for Reform Judaism, celebrating 150 years this year, by the way, talked about carving. Sometimes you have to carve out a new path. And Moses and the children of Israel didn't take a direct path to the promised land. We know they wandered a bit, but there was purpose in that journey. And there has been purpose in our journey here on Kol Ami for the last 30 years. And so as we give thanks as the children of Israel did, let us remember their journey, the Israelites, that led to redemption, and our journey that redemption is still not complete and will be up to all of you to continue as we praise God, page 158 and on the screen. Mi chamocha.
וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
I wanted tonight to bring to you two of my dear teachers. I've been shaped by both of the rabbis that are going to address you tonight. The first is my teacher and friend, Rabbi Laura Geller, no stranger to our congregation. She's spoken to us before, but for those of you that don't know, she's the Rabbi Emerita of Temple Emmanuel of Beverly Hills. 14 years she served as the Hillel director at the University of Southern California. Maury and I were on the board there together. She served for 4 years as the director of the American Jewish Congress here in Los Angeles, and she has been at the heart of so much on social justice and women in religion, and she's been named one of the most influential rabbis by Newsweek and twice by the Jewish Forward. But more importantly, she is a trailblazer. She was the third woman rabbi ordained by Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in 1976, and she has been an important person and part of shaping the rabbi that I became. So Rabbi Laura Geller, welcome back to Congregation Kol Ami. Let's make sure we get this. Travis, we're going to be good here? Okay.
Can everybody hear me? Yes? As most of you know, Mi Chamocha, which we just prayed, comes from one of the earliest pieces of biblical literature, the Song of the Sea. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to Yahweh, to Yud-He Vav-He. Modern scholars conclude that the song was actually created and performed by women. Why? Because just a few verses later it says, "Then Miriam the prophet, Aaron's sister, picked up a hand drum, and all the women went out after her with hand drums and sang, 'Sing to the Eternal, for Yud-He Vav-He has triumphed gloriously. Horse and rider the Eternal has hurled into the sea.'" Scholars think that those two lines are actually the title of the whole song, and it was Miriam and the women who sang it. That's something I did not learn in rabbinical school. So what do we know about this Miriam? Midrash tells us that from an early age, she was feisty, she was brave, she spoke truth to power, and she didn't trust authority. She was wise, open-hearted, and optimistic enough to take a hand drum with her as she left Egypt, somehow trusting that however bad things were, they would get better, and there would again be joy. Later in the Torah, she challenged Moses because he was ignoring his wife and putting his calling over his family. And she was the source of life-giving water to our people as we wandered in the wilderness. And we know she could sing. So the rabbi we celebrate tonight is a lot like Miriam. I know, because a few years after I became the rabbi of Hillel at USC, my president was a talented, feisty activist named Denise Egger. Hillel rabbis dream of presidents like Denise. She was smart. She was political. She knew how to lead by example and to encourage others to be her partners. And not only could she sing, she was also a very gifted prayer leader. In those days, the only thing I didn't love about Denise was that she didn't trust authority. Since I thought I was the authority. But I learned that leadership needs to be shared, and wisdom flows in two directions, from olders to youngers, and youngers to olders. So, in a way, I was her student as much as she was mine. And I've continued to learn from her over all these years. I learned about leadership as I watched her be the president of the Board of Rabbis of Southern California. And I learned even more as I watched her navigate the challenging role of being the president of the Central Conference of Reform Rabbis. Watching her in the Knesset, meeting members who didn't believe that liberal Jews were really Jews, I want to tell you, it was actually breathtaking. She was calm. She was strategic. She was brave. And as Rabbi Rick Jacobs just told us, she was powerful. And through all the difficult challenges of being a Jewish leader, a pioneer, a champion of the LGBTQ community, through difficult times, times that continue even now, she has continued to be optimistic, believing always that the way things are not the way they have to be. And in her personal life, she was courageous enough to make some difficult choices, knowing when some relationships needed to be different, and yet somehow managing to stay close to all the people with whom she was always close. And she was brave enough to marry another rabbi. And through it all, she was an amazing mother to Ben, not only loving him, but giving him a remarkable family of choice that taught him from a very early age, it takes a village. Look at your village. Look at our village. I am so grateful that Denise has been a part of my life for so long, as a role model, a teacher, and most important, a friend. So I want to conclude with a bit of Torah and a poem. This week's Torah portion, or last week's, depends on how you count, is Shlach Lecha. You know the story. Moses sends 12 men to scout out the promised land. They all see the same thing, but they come back with different reports. Yes, the land is flowing with milk and honey, but 10 say, the people, they were giants. We look like grasshoppers to them, and so we look like grasshoppers to ourselves. Only 2 of them, Joshua and Caleb, say, we can make it a promised land, no matter what the challenge is. There's a 17th century Polish commentator called Kli Yakar, who goes back to the opening words, Shlach lecha anashim, send for yourself men. Kli Yakar imagines a dialogue between God and Moses. With my knowledge, God says, it would be better to send women. Women cherish the land because they don't see its faults. But for you, lecha, if you think men are fit, and if they know what to look for, then send them. But no, you're sending them for yourself. But I think, says God, you should send women. The commentary imagines what would have happened if Moses had said women. Isn't it too bad that Moses apparently couldn't even imagine a scenario where women were counted enough, noticed enough, valued enough to be sent? How different would our Jewish story have been? Well, all of us know that our story is different now because of Denise. She would have, and she does, bring us back the truth that we can make a difference in our community and in our world. And as she moves into her next chapter, I am so confident that she will continue to make a difference. And now a poem that captures Denise's total embrace of inclusivity by Rabbi Sheila Peltz Weinberg. Who is like you? And who is like you? Each an expression of the divine you. Each an image of the one with no image. May we be free enough to see the image, the shadow, the holy essence of ourselves and each other. May we become free enough, quiet and present enough to see the image of ourselves in each other. May we be free enough to really ask, who is like you? And who is like you? And who is like you? With curiosity, with an open face, with an open heart. Rabbi Eger, Denise, we bless you as you go forth from strength to strength.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Geller, so much for your words. You've always been inspiring to me, and your friendship means the world to me. Let us continue to welcome Shabbat as we turn to the words of the Shamru, page 162, or on the screen above.
Shabbat, Lasod et HaShabbat, Lidorotam Beritolah, Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasod et HaShabbat, Lidorotam Beritolah.
ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We turn to page 164 on the screen above as we've come to the tefillah, the time to open our hearts to the presence of God in our lives, to offer the words that move us, the words we need to say, the words that we don't want to hear sometimes, and the words of tradition. So we rise together.
Adonai Slatai Tiftach, Adonai Slatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai Slatai Tiftach, Adonai Slatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha.
We take some time for private meditation, silent prayer. You can be seated as you're through.
when all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow, a highway to be found, leading from your window pane, just a step beyond the rain. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tosim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tosim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol shalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol shalom. Letov einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, can
We are gathered here tonight for what is so much of a celebration of 35 plus years, a celebration of this community and its amazing leader, Rabbi Egger. But as is custom in Jewish tradition, all celebrations are marked by a sense of brokenness, a sense of salt. We dip our sweet challah on a Friday night in a little bit of salt. We break a glass under the wedding canopy on the most joyous of occasions. And so on this occasion too, we think about the elements of our world that are broken. And we think of those who are in need of healing, whether that be healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of soul. On the Shabbat, Congregation Kol Ami is thinking of John Altshul, Aaron Aronow, Gary Ashland, Stephen Baird, Marion Barak, Esther Baum, Michael Becker, Sophie Belsberg, Yitzchak Ben Nomi, Roberta Bennett, Lisa Bird, Elaine Blatt, Louise Cantrell, Wayne Cantrell, Amy Chadwick, Bill Cohn, Bertha Coleman, Michael Dyer, Tino Felipe, Bernie Goldstein, Robert Greenberg, Addie Lelyveld, Chavabat, Esther Rachel, Jeff Mackler, Yeet Nakowitz, Zachary Pierce, Vitaly Popov, Keith Rand, Ben Reback, Arlene Regan, Ivan Rosenberg, Richard Ross, Myrna Salzberg, Lowell Selvin, Miles Sen, Karen Shanbrom, Luann Snyder, Phil Starr, Henry Sommerfeld, Travis Terry, David Suriel, Stephen Valentino, David Ben Herschel Vabasha, Adam Weisbart, David Wexler, Gib Weinbar, Philip Windsor, Eitan Wolf, and Doug Workman. To these names, we add those of your loved ones. If there's anyone you're thinking of at this time, I want to invite you to share their name aloud so we can take them into our hearts with our own. For all of them, we wish refuah shlema, complete and total healing, but if that is not possible or not within sight, just an inch, just a little bit of a step towards that healing. So we join together in our Misha Beirach, our healing prayer, page 371, or on the words on the screen above.
Of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
It is a bit of a time of transition, one that was perhaps not quite as momentous we have coming up in this coming week as we move from the month of Sivan into the month of Tammuz. Summer is coming at us very fast, and so I want to invite you all to rise with me on page 519 in your prayer books as we offer a special blessing for this new month. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Together, our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Tammuz Yiyeh B'Yom Sheni. The new month of Tammuz will begin on Monday. And let us say together, Amen.
Please be seated. It wasn't enough to bring one amazing teacher, but I had to bring two tonight. I'm delighted that he's speaking at my retirement because a number of years ago I spoke at his retirement Shabbat. Rabbi Stephen Jacobs has been a mentor and a teacher and a dear, dear friend. I don't want to tell you the last time you saw Ben. He was a little infant. You can figure out what that meant. He has a pretty interesting resume. I'm not going to go through it all. He's the Rabbi Emeritus at Kol Tikva, a congregation that he founded in Woodland Hills. He's founded so much interfaith organizations, including the Progressive Faith Foundation. He's a leader in Muslim-Jewish relationships, Christian-Jewish relationships. He's traveled the world in search of peace and social justice. What you might not know about him is he is one of the very first rabbis to ever stand up on the bima, as he did when he was an assistant rabbi in 1969 at Temple Israel of Miami, and gave a sermon of inclusion about then homosexuality, homosexuals. It was just after Stonewall, and he gave one of the very first sermons about standing with our community. He has a long and illustrious career. We're delighted to welcome him and the Honorable Betty Yee, former Controller of the State of California, his wife, here with us tonight. And I invite Rabbi Jacobs now, if you'll come and share some words of inspiration for us. Come stand on my bima here. See, it works for him too, that little step.
Oh my God. The poet, the Hebrew poet said, Im lo lamala, if not higher. That's what's happening in these moments since we began Shabbat. If not higher, the music, the prayers. And you, my colleague, dear Laura, my Abba, my father, used to say to me growing up, he said, Stephen, Devorim sheyotzim min halev, nichnasim lalev. Matters that come from the heart, enter the heart. And you have entered into every heart and soul on this Shabbat. Ze hayom kivinu lach nagila v'nismecha vo. Yes, this is the day. A day of all days, let us be glad and rejoice in it. The psalm reminds us that the spirit of godliness has a purpose, especially this day of celebration on this beautiful Shabbat. We are reminded that each day is rich with opportunities of loving and appreciating each other with a new grace and given freely and accepted. And at the same moment as we honor our friend, Rabbi Denise, we live in the most challenging times in modernity. I came across a book that speaks to this, Canoeing the Mountains, by somebody knows it, by Ted Balsinger, examines how we must reframe life's work, considering today's atmosphere, both in everyday life and in retirement. The title refers to the explorers of Lewis and Clark, who led an expedition in the early 1800s, having been sent by Thomas Jefferson to explore the American West. As you might remember, their goal was to find a way west to the Pacific. They had assumed that they would find a water route there, hence the canoes that they had taken with them. Instead, they find themselves in the mountains. They had signed up to explore the New World in a canoe. They were river pioneers. Oy vey, now what? So similar to our situation today. Denise faced her challenges brilliantly, and now Ellie and Denise must prepare for the mountains they face in elevating hope and purpose. Denise took an uncharted emotional and institutional challenges affecting, as you know and as you have heard repeatedly, our entire reform movement throughout this nation and beyond. Lewis and Clark were fortunate to have a 19-year-old Native American with them, Sacagawea. She told them to trade their canoes for mountain gear. So the expedition was changed and certainly not over. She helped them reframe. Denise has done this her entire career. She has helped each of us reframe, reorganize, and grow to respect one another in ways not known. She helped us to reframe our desires, our needs, and our mindsets to what it is to be gay and straight and trans. She changed our expectations of failure and gave us the way to understanding of reality in this very mashugana world. In realizing our relationships vis-a-vis work, family, and friendships. She taught and preached and continues to write books, knowing we can't go it or do it alone. The great breakthrough for Lewis and Clark was when they listened to a voice that had been ignored, like that of Sacagawea, like that of Denise Aga. They represent not only as Laura has said, the oft unheard feminine voice of their times, but of our times also. Our nation is in danger of losing the vision of its fundamental liberties and freedoms. The danger resonates in banning books, don't say gay, censorship, restrictions, and ongoing attempts to deny a woman's choice and decisions about her own body. This danger resonates in racism and sexism and hatred of Jews, Asians, blacks, Muslims, and you, us, our LGBTQ plus sisters and brothers. It resonates in an aching abyss with the shattered lives of millions on drugs, the elderly trapped on fixed incomes, the unhoused filling our streets, and the disabled facing barriers at every turn. Too much to bear. Is gun violence then the antidote? Is fentanyl an addiction? Suicide? The growing outward experiences of hatred and slowly devastating effects of climate change our lives more than ever before. It is a daunting chapter in our collective history that, for many, has just become too much to bear. Too much to bear. You and I, both Denise and Ellie, and every single one of us here on this Shabbat, cannot abandon the American experiment that was begun 200 years ago. Our nation needs religious and political leaders who understand and speak out and practice the great ideas for what this great nation was founded. We need people like Rabbi Denise and Rabbi Ellie who see full well that the function of freedom is not only to protect and exalt the individual, but to strengthen our faith and our society as a whole. I've always been struck by the job of the congregational rabbi. There is no profession anywhere on earth that allows one individual to touch the hearts and souls of others so extensively, interacting with young and old, in good times and bad, sharing moments of joy and moments of sadness. Throughout their lives, Denise, you have been there. What an extraordinary profession. What a sacred calling. Once before at Sinai, we proclaimed a vision of hope and justice that transformed Jewish history. We stand at Sinai once again. Rabbi Denise Egger, thou excellest them all. And as is the title of your latest book, as it shouts out at us, live bravely. God bless you, dear friend. Betty and I are inspired by you. We love you deeply. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi. Thank you, my rabbi. Thank you, my rabbi. Now you know where I learned all that speak in the pulpit about social justice, right? What an honor and privilege to invite Peter Mackler, the president of our temple, to say a few words. Peter? If you want me to, I will. Say, step up here. Yeah, speak in there.
As honored as I've always been to stand here at this bima, as your president, to stand here today after hearing our teachers, Rabbi Jacobs, Rabbi Geller, is truly one of the greatest honors in my life, and I appreciate that. Rabbi, I was thinking, you probably have it somewhere in your office, but how many times over the last 30 years here at Kol Ami, how many times for the last 35 years of your rabbinate did you stand here at this bima and others? Thousands, I would imagine. And each time, Rabbi, you would exhale for all of us the lessons of Torah. You would exhale your vision of peace. Don't read it. I just have bullet points. Don't. Be surprised.
I am.
We didn't rehearse. You would exhale your vision of love. You would stand here at this beam and all others around the country and around the world to exhale your vision of tzedakah, of true justice. You would exhale your vision of walking humbly with your God. And you did so as the true teacher and the true rabbi that you are. Because as you exhaled, you allowed us to inhale. And you allowed us to make your vision our vision. You gave us that permission. You gave us that space. The true markings of a rabbi, of a teacher. And with each lesson, you brought Torah to us in our own vision of justice and love. And you stood by us, each and every one of us, not just here, not just online, but in all the congregations and all the audiences that you've spoken to, all those who read books. You stood side by side with us as we walked humbly with our God. And so tonight, Rabbi, I ask you to just stand here for a moment and I ask you to inhale. I ask you to inhale. Look at this audience here. Look at our congregation, our family, those online. Look at all the people out there, maybe not online, who you've touched. And inhale for just a moment for yourself all that you've helped create. Inhale the lessons you've taught us. Inhale the love and the dignity and of a very grateful community. On a very personal note, you know the household that I came from. I was taught, my great-grandfather was a rabbi, first president of Yeshiva University in New York. Not bad. You know that.
A competition.
Right.
Don't tear Dr. Holo. I see him sitting there.
You know that I was taught to love Israel, to love the Jewish people. But Rabbi, it was you. I'm going to steal a line of yours from a wider bridge in New York a few months back. It was you who helped me become the passionate Zionist that I am now. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Amen.
And with that,
Careful,
I don't trip.
Don't trip.
I do have the honor, and it truly had, I can say that every time I'm in the bima here, when the rabbi introduces me as the president of Congregation Kol Ami, I stand here and I said, really? Still? You know, still? But on behalf of a very grateful community, just a little
Thank you.
something.
Thank you, Peter.
But inhale and take this.
Like
this all
Clinton?
Huh?
Like Clinton.
She has to up me one time, one last time. You couldn't let me have the moment.
They're just across the street.
You couldn't let me have the moment.
Thank you, Peter. Love you. Right? Save that part for later. Okay, I know y'all are hungry. I have a very short few words to say tonight, although, Cantor, can I have that phone? Because it's like in two places. I'm kind of technologically challenged. Thank you. First of all, put that out of the way. Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos to all of you. I'm thrilled to look up and see all of your faces. I'm online. I'm so glad that you're here with us as well. I hope you can feel the love and the joy and the celebration of Shabbat that we feel in this room together. I have a long list of thank yous, and I want to do those. But first, I want to just say just a couple words of Torah. And you've made mention of some of that tonight already. And as those of you who've been upstairs in my office, and you know, if you'll turn around that little window on my right, if you go upstairs, stenciled around that window is very important to me to have my favorite verse of Torah, of the Tanakh, stenciled around that window as I looked out, had a view of our sanctuary to remind me always of what our purpose, my purpose as a rabbi was. And that is the verse from Micah 6:8. Higid lecha adam ma tov, u'ma Adonai doresh mimcha, ki im asot mishpat v'avat chesed v'tnetzeh lechet im Elohecha. You've been told, O mortal, what is good. What does God require of you? Only to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. These words have been my inspiration. And they're on my talit. I'm wrapped in those words. I look at them and have looked at them for the 21, 22 years we've been in this building now, because that phrase from the book of Micah has been what has guided me in my work at Kol Ami, in my work in our larger Los Angeles, West Hollywood community, in our work in our reform movement. Sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong. I'm still a human being. But those words bring me back to center each and every day. Rabbi Elazar said in the Gemara, in the Talmud, as a comment on this particular phrase, what does this verse mean? And he said, to do justly means to do justice, to go out there and be justice. You have to bring it, not someone else. He said, to love mercy, what is this? This is acts of kindness. It's not something that just rabbis can do or prophets can do. It's something that everyone can do, acts of kindness. And finally, what does it mean to walk humbly with your God? He said, and this is a little bit obscure, so I want you to think about it for a minute. He said, this is referring to taking the indigent dead, the people who can't afford a funeral, and burying them with dignity. And it also means accompanying the poor bride and groom who cannot make and afford their own wedding celebration to help them make a wedding celebration. Both of these things have to be performed without fanfare, meaning you just have to do it. You don't ask questions. You don't, why can't they afford to do, what do you mean they can't afford their own place at Hillside or Sinai? They weren't saving, they didn't make arrangements. It's expensive to get buried, let's face it. Why does our tradition focus on this? Why is that walking humbly with your God? And if you look in the Torah, you remember it's God who attends to Moses in those final moments on Mount Nebo, not leaving it to others to bury him or to take him to heaven or whatever happened. But our tradition teaches that it was God who attended to Moses. And can we do no less than to take care of the indigent, those who are poor among us? To throw off our narcissism, our capitalism, all the things, and to take care of those who don't have. And that's what I've tried to do, and to follow these teachings of Rabbi Elazar. It's not always about the financial side, though. It's also about being poor in spirit. And many of us have been poor in spirit. We've been abused, we've been addicted, we've been thrown away, we've been cast off. And I made a commitment more than 35 years ago when I became a rabbi in this town in the height of the AIDS crisis. Our community was poor in spirit and poor in health. And I decided then and there that I was going to walk humbly with my God by walking humbly with those who needed it. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity, because you all have helped me fulfill my mission. You all, when we created Kol Ami at the height of the AIDS crisis, helped us continue to do just that, to bring justice, to love compassion, to walk humbly with our God and to walk humbly with one another through good times and bad. And there have been both for all of us. So I thank you for the honor, for the privilege, for creating community together, for spending so many Shabbats here together, Jane. So many times that we've sung together. And for those of you online, you're just as much a part of this community as those of us who are here physically present. So I want to take a moment of shout outs, and I know I'm going to blow it, so you'll cut me a little slack tonight. I want to ask Mason and Wendy to stand, because Mason Summers and Wendy Glenn are two of the 5 founding steering committee members that helped get this temple started, along with John Altschul, who sends his regards. I saw him yesterday. And of course, and in memory, Zichronam Livracha, Harvey Weiner and Marlene Bram, 2 of our executive committee, steering committee members who passed away. We remember them and honor them for their efforts to create this fabulous community. And there were many of you that are founding members, but I want to give a shout out to 2, Karen Seitman and Harley Shapiro. Harley's here from the Bay Area, because many of you don't know Harley, but everybody knows Karen. Who also were very instrumental in pulling this place together and letting many of you know that we were starting a temple here in West Hollywood. So you've been stalwarts. Everybody who's been here from the first 5 years, would you just stand up? Wow. And those of you that joined, while we were still at the church and made the transition to this place, would you stand up? Yeah. And those of you that have joined since we opened the building, would you stand up and been part of this? Yeah. Okay, you can be seated. Thank you to all of you who've given of yourselves in leadership. We have a lot of past presidents here. I saw Carrie and Stuart and David Kaminsky and Wendy and Marianne. Cheryl's here. Who else is here? I can't see everybody. President's here. Who's it? Oh, Bill Weinberger. Judge Weinberger's here. We are so glad, and your leadership has made an incredible difference. Many of you have served on past boards. What an honor and privilege that has been for me to work by your side in leadership. And I want to say this before I recognize a few other people that are here tonight and dignitaries that are here. There's a lot of talk. Oh, is Kol Ami going to keep going after she leaves? I'm not sticking around. Shame on you. Shame on you. This temple is not about Denise Ager. Okay, maybe we got started that way, but we built something really special. And so I hope that those of you will continue to celebrate not only this 30 years that we are celebrating now, but way beyond, because we have so much to offer in creating a safe and just and holy place. If you want to pay tribute to my legacy, you'll remain connected and supportive of this place and whatever the future brings. This is what we need. There's still a reason for a Kol Ami. I see it every day. People still need a safe place. It's not the same walking into a large place that's welcoming. Sometimes you just need safe queer space. So I urge you to go along for the ride, help shape the next chapter, because I will be there to support the decisions every step of the way. I just want you to hear that. So again, to Rabbi Geller and Rabbi Jacobs, thank you. Thank you for being my teachers. Thank you for helping shape me. I want to give a special thank you tonight for the service to Rabbi Levy, my pulpit partner. We wish it's been a joy, and we wish you nothing but the best as you go to my home temple in Memphis, where I grew up. He's going to be my rabbi. To Ken Orlinsky, thank you, always. Your voice, your presence, your grace. I feel so lucky and so blessed to have shared the Bima with you. And you fill my heart. Thank you. There are many clergy colleagues here. If you'll just stand, my dear Rabbi Chaikin and Rabbi Danny Shapiro. No strangers. Rabbi Eric Weiss. Where's my Eric Weiss? Rabbi Weiss, where are you? I know you're here somewhere. There you are. And there's a few others here. Reverend Neil Thomas, we're going to hear from in just a minute. I got you. Rabbi Karen Fox and Mickey Rosen, my dear, dear friends. We're so glad you're here. My teacher, my friend. Dr. Josh Hollow, the Vice President for Academic Resources at Hebrew Union College. My alma mater. I'd be nothing without that place. I really want to recognize my other teacher, Dr. Michael Zeldin, who I used to harass when I was a second-year student in our education class. I love you. I want to thank Lisa Edwards. We've spent so many Shabbats together. You are so much a part of my heart. You have filled our lives with so much joy and music and presence, and I'm so grateful. To Mike Nelson and Stephen Brickman and Anna Barrerio, the rest of the house band, thank you so much. To our Board of Trustees who's worked so hard this year, and we appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you for everything that you've done. Take a moment. If you're on the board, would you stand? And the current board, would you just stand up? Let us recognize you and thank you. I want to thank our gala committee who has worked for this whole weekend so much. Janine, Mason, Hope, Rodney, Fran, Peter, David Glickman, Scott Mann, Roberta Bennett, Yaffa Hughes. If you all just, Todd Cohen, if you all just give a shout out to thank you for everything. Thank you for all of your hard work to make this so special. And I want to thank always Travis Smith, who's back there on sound. In a minute, you're going to have Kensington Catering, so thank you to them. And thank you to our staff who have worked so hard to make this weekend incredibly special for me and for our congregation. And I really want to give a shout out to Adam Rotenberg, Hugo Reyes, Harrison Berger, and the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Executive Director, Devora Servi. Thank you so very much. I want to thank my family for being here. You have been my rock to help me through so much and to getting to this decision. So to Ben and Rachel for schlepping in when you have to come back next week, thank you. To Mason and Rami for your hospitality. To Karen and K2, we're still family. We'll always be family. To Gary, my father-in-law, and Holly and Jessica, Thank you for being here. And to Ruby, she's having sweet dreams, but. And of course, to my Ellie, to Rabbi Dr. Eleanor Steinman. Thank you so much for putting up with the Narishkeit, and I love you and thank you. We have one video that we were going to see still, Travis, yes? So we have a few more greetings. We're going to see one more little video, and then I'm going to invite Reverend Thomas to come forward. So look at the screen. Maybe. Is it working?
My name is Ilana Radishan, and I served as a rabbinic intern at Kol Ami from 2020 to 2022. Rabbi Ager taught me many things, but the thing that stands out to me is that she taught me how to gracefully leave a room and not be the last person standing at the seminar. My wish for you, Rabbi Ager, and for Ellie is that you go on the best food court Austin has to offer. Sending you so much love from both Word Zone.
Hi, this is Greg Weissman. I was rabbinic minister for Denise at Congregation Kol Ami from 2011 to 2013, and I want to wish you, Denise, and was also your retirement. I learned so many incredible things from you in our years together, and I was your intern, and even more in the 10 years since. But one thing I will always keep in mind was watching you treat every single person like they were the most important person in the world. Whether it was people in the congregation or our rabbinic friends and colleagues, folks we met in all the different places that we have been, you made everyone, especially me, feel special. It's also
My name is Michael Shepard. In 2015 and 16, I was also known as Stick. I served under Rabbi Egger as a student intern, and I learned so much. The thing I think I learned the most was how to handle a curve. And I don't mean on a baseball or softball field. Rabbi Egger would throw curveballs at me throughout my entire internship. He taught me how to handle situations I wasn't expecting. I'm so grateful. That has proved to be an invaluable tool. My friend, my teacher, and God bless you on your journey to retirement. May you be given 20-fold. You've given to the Jewish people, to our world, and to us, our nation.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Jeremy. Oh, shoot, this is for Denise. Hi, I'm Rabbi Jeremy Gimbel, and I was the student rabbi and music director at Kol Ami and Edward and Denise from 2012 to 2017. Denise, you took in this little song leader rabbinical student and gave me, Sarah, Ari, and Maya a spiritual home. I was so blessed to have you by my side every step of the way during our time in Los Angeles. You taught me more than I could ever say. And because of all the laughs, the tears, the discussions, the lessons that we shared, I can say with certainty that I am a better rabbi
Okay, sit down. We still have a little bit of the service to go. To my dearest pastor friend, he's my pastor. Many of you know him from his time here in Los Angeles when he was the senior pastor at Founders MCC. Now he is the senior pastor of a much larger congregation. I was there 3 weeks ago, the Cathedral of Hope in Dallas, Texas, the Reverend Dr. Neil Thomas. And my co-author of our book, Seven Principles.
Seven
Living
Principles, yeah. 7 Principles for Spiritual Living Bravely. So it really is just a joy to be here. Flew in from Dallas today, and I'm here for the weekend, and it really is a joy to be back in Los Angeles. 22 years ago, I arrived in Los Angeles from England, just in case you didn't know where my accent was from. And Reverend Dr. Elder Troy Perry brought me to Congregation Kol Ami. Took me upstairs into that office and introduced me to someone who would be my lifelong rabbi, friend, colleague, mentor, spiritual director, and good troublemaker here in West Hollywood. And it has been a relationship of friendship that has transformed my life, has transformed my preaching, and has transformed the ways in which we do work together. And it almost sounds like a joke. A rabbi and a priest come together, walk into a bar. And for those Prop 8 years, I remember so often Karen calling me and saying, "Have you seen Rabbi Denise?" Because we were always together. We were lovingly referred to as husband and wife. And we were fighting for marriage equality. It's my honor to be here, to honor you, and to invite you to come and to receive the blessing of this community, of the clergy who are present. If you would please come and join me, and in any tradition where you may come from.
Rabbi Fox, come up here. Yeah, Rabbi Fox, join us up here.
Excuse me.
It may be ironic for a Christian minister to be doing this, but Denise always weaves her own path and her own journey, and so what an honor. Let's surround her.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Let's surround her.
Gotta leave room for the camera, though. It's still on. Like, I'm gonna have.
Get a good shot.
Oh wait, one step back, says the producer. No, he told us to step back.
I'm going to invite you to pray with me. Yahweh, Adonai, God, many names by which we get to call you, and yet one way in which you shape us. We give you honor and gratitude for Rabbi Denise Egger, a woman of faith, a pioneer for the journey, a teacher, an inspiration, and one who brings this chapter of her life to a close, but to open a new chapter. For we know that you have not finished with her yet, that there is still much more to be done, and that there is another trail that you will path before her. So we ask that you would open that path now as we lay hands and bless her, honor her and respect her, give thanks for her. As we, as people of faith, have benefited so much from her life and from her ministry, we ask now, God, that we might be a part of this chapter as we continue to be Congregation Kol Ami beyond her term, and that you would bless her footsteps, bless her home, her life, her family, her sojourner, as she takes these next steps with our blessing and with our gratitude. So may light and love be the footsteps that move her and lead her. And may we, those who have found the benefit of her ministry, afford her the release that she may travel onward to greater, different, newer, and inspired ways. And the people of God, in agreement with this blessing, we say, Amen.
Cantor, turn around.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless you and watch over you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May God's presence shine down upon you and be gracious with you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May you feel God's presence with you always, and may God grant you with that most holy and ancient blessing of peace and wholeness within your heart, within your home, and within this world. And together we say, Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you. That was gorgeous, Danny. Thank you, Robin. Lots of kisses. Yes, I know.
Rabbi Eger, your energy and brilliance and integrity will always be written on the walls of these beautiful, beautiful words that we see around us, surrounding our congregation. And it is my prayer that this next song that I offer to you, I know you'll do. I know you'll do. But it's a song that, when things are a little tough, can be a reminder that you're not alone.
Take God with you everywhere you go, in all that you do. Take God with you, and though you'll travel far away from here, you won't be alone. You'll not be alone. Wandering, we came from long ago, when Abraham and Sarah took God's hand, trusting one, believing in themselves. Their descendants walked through hills of sand. Wandering, someday you will be, you will come to understand. Take God with you everywhere you go, in all that you do. Take God with you, and though you will travel far away step you take will be your own. Journey far, get to know this world, go away to find your way back home. God is with you, locked inside your heart, and yes, you may stray, you'll always find a way to take God with you everywhere you go, in all that you do. Take God with you.
You're back for a few acknowledgments of those of you that have helped make this weekend so special, and then we'll conclude our service. Yeah, you can make them shorter.
Once again, my name is Peter Macklin, and yes, I am still the president of Congregation Kol Ami. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we want to welcome you here tonight for such a special Shabbat. Not only Rabbi Eger, but our 30th anniversary. Thank you again to Lisa Edwards and everybody that Rabbi Eger had just named. To many sponsors for tonight's flowers and special oneg and music. You should see the names, I hope, up on the screen, and they're in the program. Rabbi Steinman is shaking her head yes. We are looking forward to tomorrow night's celebration at our 30th anniversary gala. We will begin with cocktails at 5:30 p.m. at the Mulholland Tennis Club, and Havdalah will be celebrated at 6:45. The event, very pleased to say, is sold out. On Wednesday, June 21st at 7 o'clock p.m. will be our annual Congregation Kol Ami's annual congregation meeting. The meeting will be in person only and only open to members who have paid their yearly dues in full. For those of you who cannot attend, we have proxy forms in the lobby. Please fill them out and put them in the proxy box. As you saw in E. Kolenu, it'll be an opportunity for me to provide you with my final remarks as president. That alone should secure a full room. So we know that we're going to have a quorum. On Saturday, June 24th, from 1 to 3 p.m., we'll be holding the Tzedek Council Lunch Bag Assembly supporting the Hollywood Food Bank Coalition. We made over 500 lunch bags during our event last April, and we're hoping to continue with those numbers and actually exceed those numbers. We hope to have a great deal of fun and support this important cause. Also on Saturday, June 24th, it's a big day on the 24th, will be our next book circle gathering online. This month we are reading, or they will be reading, The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. It's the Times #1 fiction title of the year and the New York Times notable book of 2018. It was a finalist for the Man Booker Prize and the National Book Critics Circle Award. Also on the evening of June 24th, the Men of Kol Ami will be celebrating summer at the Melrose Rooftop Theater at the screening of Bring It On. Please check our website for more information, including registration details. Finally, be sure to mark your calendars for some exciting events coming up in July. On July 30th, a group of us will be heading to the Hollywood Bowl for Everybody Rise, a Sondheim celebration. Tickets are currently sold out, but should some more become available, we will let you know, probably on the website. We'll also have a Havdalah in the Home hosted by Larry Levy on the evening of July the 8th. As always, ready? As always, we hope you'll keep up to date on all that is happening at Congregation Kol Ami by visiting our website. Now I'm going to play straight tonight. At kol-ami.org. That's kolami.org. And while you're visiting our website, please do consider making a donation to our synagogue to support the very, very holy work that we do all year long, and possibly even this weekend to make a donation in honor of Rabbi Egger's 30 years standing here as our senior and our founding rabbi. What better way to honor her than that? And with that, we wish you a Shabbat Shalom and welcome you to the Oneg. In a moment.
Almost. Thank you.
Mic
Peter.
down.
We turn now to 586, or we're on the screen. Aleinu L'Shabeach, I invite you to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המדם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We're observing the yahrzeits of Rosalie J. Abrams Berger, mother of Sharon Siegel, Tilly Warnick Citron, aunt of Nils Zaslavsky, Muriel Sarnoff, grandmother of Cheryl Gold, Stanley Weiss, uncle of Stephen Weiss, Abraham Clark, great-grandfather of Richard Wortman, Annie Keller, sister-in-law of Esther Keller-Baum, Lillian Altman, aunt of Martin Frank, Gladys Wortman, grandmother of Jeffrey Wortman, Gertrude Kummer, mother of Barry Kummer, whose yahrzeit plaques are lit in loving remembrance. We're also recalling Sarah Shaw, great-aunt of Rabbi Danny Shapiro, Bernie Backrack, father of Beth Backrack, Judy Feinberg, aunt of Peter Mackler, Billy Lobo, friend of Michael Becker, Beatrice Ellison, mother of Frank Ellison, Rosalie Rosenfeld, aunt of Marilyn Ader, Arthur Stein, uncle of Andrew Stein, Joseph Davidson, grandfather of Carrie Davidson, and Ruth Lyon, aunt of Rabbi Robin Podolsky, Alvin Farber, father of William Farber, and Benno Drucker, grandfather of Jane Drucker. We've been reciting Kaddish this year for Reba Goldman, Michael Simmental, Victor Escobar, Alvin Gross, Ernie Benson, Kathy Weiss, Ellen Mentzner, Janice Houghton Levi, Anton Malley, Josh Kaplan, Don Hollis, Jason Thomas Lodge, Elaine Cohn, Maeve Eisenberg, Bart Kogan, Dabby Blatt, Stephen Shapiro, Carol Rosenthal, Marilyn Horvitz, Murray Blank, Stephen Hochstein, Ernie Sosnick, Stephen Wright, Scott Magid, Gloria Brown, Rosina Spitzer, Lizzie Taylor, Jamie Hornbeck, David Bird, Fran Shanbrom, Louis Silverman, Patricia Rudolph, Harriet Stein, David Bordetsky, Vivian Bernard, Latrice Bloom, Tammy Rabowski. And we note with sadness the death this week of a dear friend of our congregation, of colleague of Reverend Neil and I, Reverend Daniel Smith, who was the pastor at West Hollywood United Church of Christ, which formerly West Hollywood Presbyterian Church, that hosted our congregation for 10 years. He died after a brief illness. We recall him with love and honor his memory as well. Together, we remember so many of our loved ones, so many people who built Congregation Kol Ami through the years, through these last 30 years, who are no longer with us. And I will give you now an opportunity to say a name aloud, that those that you would like to remember tonight. Those of you at home, we want you to say a name aloud too. We turn to page 598. All of them, all of their memories mingled together are a blessing. They've shaped us, they formed us, for good or for ill sometimes, but they made us who we are. And together, we praise God for their lives and for life itself. Gadol v'yitkadosh
Shemei
Shemei
Rabbah,
Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach yutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayedachol beit Yisrael, b'galav v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'le'amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace and comfort to all of us who mourn and all of us who've been bereaved. And together, let us say,
Amen.
Please be seated. Our closing hymn and herm tonight, Zir and Zem tonight. Page 598, Oseh Shalom.
Shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom. Shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah,
Am I on?
you're on.
All right, two quick things. Give us a second to take off the sound and mic. Don't just come rushing up. We're going to greet you all outside. Everybody who wants to get greeted will have a moment to talk. So let us get unpacked here. Again, thank you to Mike, to Lisa, to Anna, to Stephen, to Rabbi Levy and Cantor Linsky. To the temple staff, please thank Devorah and Adam and Hugo and Harrison and Travis. Thank them so much. We appreciate all of it. We're going to make motzi here in just a minute and then invite you outside. Again, thank you to Rabbi Geller and Rabbi Jacobs, to my family for being here, and all of you. You gave me and bestowed upon me the blessing. It is my privilege to bestow that blessing back to you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Holy One of blessing lift up you and your heart and fill it with peace. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avo. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. See you for at Bar Libetz.